Hi there, everyone, and thank you for joining us for our Data Lab MSc launch event as part of TechFest this year. Really excited to be a supporter and sponsor of TechFest. I remember going along, especially to the shows as a kid, and really enjoying everything, mostly the fossils and live lizards. But here we are talking about data science and AI. So things do come not quite full circle, but we'll say triangle. So I'm Cameron. I'm the business development lead for the Data Lab here in Aberdeen. So I lead our Aberdeen hub. I also lead our work in the energy pillar, that area of focus for the Data Lab. So if you haven't met the Data Lab before, if you haven't met me, let me give you a really quick brief on what we do and how we try and do it. So the Data Lab is one of Scotland's 7 innovation centres that was set up just over 5 years ago now. And our goal is, our mission, is to help Scotland maximise value from data and lead the world to a data-powered future. Now, that's our really glossy, high-level aspirations, and you've got to aim high. But we really believe Scotland has the potential to be a data capital globally. We've got so much expertise, both technical and business acumen. We've got so much talent based in the population, and more talent coming through every year, and that's what we're here to talk about. We kind of forward this mission through 3 main avenues. Support to innovate, which is our funding kind of theme, where we'll support data science projects between industry and academia, support with data science resource as well, support by setting the foundations to start using your data in the correct way. And the correct way is, I think, a bit misconstrued, that there's no one correct way to be using your data. The correct way is different for you. And we try and help organizations find that right methodology that supports them and their goals in the best way possible. Community and events, we recognize that getting this ability and this drive out into industry is great, but if there's no support, no ecosystem, no community behind it, then it's everyone out there fighting the fight on their own. And that's not what this is about. This is about Scotland as a whole making the most of its data, supporting each other through innovation, but through business support as well, to have those friends and colleagues that you can rely on to come and speak to say, we're doing it this way, or have you done this, or can you help me with this? No one company offers the entire solution to someone's data journey. It always requires collaboration, especially in the face of what we're looking at as being a net zero Scotland and COP26 into next year. And then our final avenue of attack, as it were, is skills and talent. The whole point of what we're here to talk about. Students, MSCs, new fresh talent coming into Scotland and staying in Scotland. New talent is key for developing capability, both in organizations, but also as a country, as I've said before. So the skills that we have, we support over 160 MSc students annually. These students have come through 12 of the Scottish universities, or where we support, so from all over Scotland with a different various and background and experience, but all their courses are focused in some application of data science. So what we're here to talk about, and again, keeping in the Northeast theme with TechFest, is the students that are going to be available to Northeast companies. Now, this being said, all the students are available, especially as we're looking to do remote placements this year. But from the 2 Aberdeen universities specifically, there's a great round offering of students that about 40 students out of the 160 in total, but that really give an opportunity to enhance the ecosystem, enhance the community, and enhance your business as well. So from RGU, we support a data science course, everything it says in the tin, and also a business analytics course that has a bit more of that skew towards business acumen and applying the data science into a business environment. And then from Aberdeen University, we have the artificial intelligence course. We support a number of students there that's really phenomenally skilled students looking at applying artificial intelligence into the ecosystem and into industry. Across all the problems, I think it's important to say that these courses are industry agnostic. They may have a spin. Being in Aberdeen, you can imagine there's often an energy spin, but we've worked with students in health and well-being, social care. Data for good is a big one. How can your data be leveraged to support the wider community? And then the second course from Aberdeen is Health Data Science. This is a new course this year with a really great specific goal of using health data science. Aberdeen in general has NHS data safe haven, and the Centre for Health and Data Science at Aberdeen University is a data controller for that and works phenomenally well. So this course is now looking at getting some students with that expertise out there and into industry. So our MSc program, all of these 160 students, we offer a placement or look to find a placement for them. And this runs usually over summer. We'll cover that later on. And would be a dissertation project. So what we're here looking for now is industry partners. We're looking for you to come forward to myself or one of the team at the Data Lab to say, I've got an idea, I've got a problem, I've got a project that I think I could use a student to solve. And that's what the students are here for. They're here to solve problems. They're not here to get some, well, they are here to get some experience, but they're not here to sit in your business for or organization for 3 to 4 months and get no value. They're here to add something, to drive something forward, to drive something new, to drive something innovative, perhaps, or to support your journey. Wherever in your data journey you are, the applications of a student can really, really support that. So the call is now open. We're looking for individual companies to come forward with projects. As I say, there's no limit to the number of students you can have. So if you're looking for 5 or 6 students, we would be more than happy to oblige. I can tell you that. But also just getting these students the quality of projects relevant to them as well. I think it's important to say that we go through quite a rigorous matching process to make sure not only the students' capabilities match your organization, but their personality and their ethos really gels in the best way possible. And you get the most value, and everyone has the best time as well, because value is one thing, but enjoying the placement and enjoying interacting with a student is really, really key. So what we're going to go into now is a wee bit of testimony. So we've just had a really tough year. Let's be honest, everyone's had a very different year to I think what we were expecting 2020 to be, but we were delighted that over 30 organizations were still able to take on a student remotely and really see some benefit from this. So what you'll hear from now is a few of the companies that were involved this year, also a few of the students, so you get a feel for their perspective, and hopefully you'll really see some analogous pieces of work that could support your business, or see a case study that might resonate with yourself. So without any further ado, here are some of the participants from this last year of 2019-20 Data Lab MSc cohort and the placement hosts that they went to.
I'm Laura Anderson. I'm co-founder in a small startup, Seaspider, and our focus is on improving the decision-making on premium spirits using data-driven analytics and insights to do that. Just like to say how positive the overall placement was, and you know, we are a startup company, and we weren't sure whether we actually were ready for this, and we were very late into the program, so you know, I cannot say what a positive, you know, it's brought us on, you know, a large step over a short period of time, which has been great. Okay. We probably had 3, you know, real objectives. The first was a proof of concept in some way. You know, we had an idea and we had lots of data, but that wasn't particularly clean data in some places, and so we needed proof of concept. So that was one thing we came away with. We isolated a chunk of data, which Spiros might talk about, and he set off with his objectives on that, and that gave us proof of concept. The second thing was, we're a startup, we do live hand to mouth. So we actually had identified a commercial client that if we got an output from this project, we could charge them some money, which helped us fund the whole thing as well. So we did that, and Spiros fed into final presentations to commercial client and helped us through that process as well, you know, right up to the last minute of sending through information as we were about to present. So that absolutely was a positive experience. And the third thing, and I don't know if this is is uncommon, but Spears was very much our technical support. We had moved from a third-party agency who were uncomfortable, to be perfectly honest, and what Spiros did is allowed us to build up that in-house technical expertise. He was very much our phone a friend on anything technical through the period. So it wasn't just a specific project, it was actually much more of an overall technical support. And I think Spiros probably didn't realise how much he knew that we didn't know until we'd kind of gone through that process. So that was very positive.
I did my Master in Science at the University of Glasgow. I had the great opportunity to work as intern with Spider and Laura. I did mostly data analysis. The project was about discovering which factors affect the price of a whiskey bottle. And therefore, we use these factors and the data analysis to predict future values and prices of a bottle of whiskey. It was great that I got some commercial experience. I learned a lot of things about whiskey as well, because I didn't know which factors they affect them, how to age a bottle, and what the range of prices are. And also, I had the opportunity to apply, as Abdullah said, the techniques that I have learned through my courseworks. I had the opportunity to apply them on real life problems, solutions, see their results, see what I'm missing, see what I could improve. You meet new people, like Lara, that are great and they can help in the future. You get a commercial experience that I think is very important in the data field, because it's most job description ask for some experience. So having an internship of 3 months is really important. And I think that will help in the future to go to an interview and can present yourself that you have some experience and you know some things that you have applied in real life instead of only courseworks and in your master. And that was a perfect lesson for me.
So I'm Toby Ryder. I work for a company called Canadian Natural Resources. As the name suggests, we're an oil and gas company. So we're an operating company. We have platforms in the North Sea, offshore Africa, and in a large onshore business in Canada itself. And obviously the placement was relevant to the particular role I do, which is integrity management. With Abdullah, we set him a very specific set of data, but I think he taught me very quickly that data is data. And whilst I had to give him some understanding of what that meant when he was reading it and what the various categories meant and why, he spoke about them being anomalous, what was anomalous and what wasn't. But essentially, once those kind of basics were in place, what he was able to do is show us that what I see as an inspection report and an MCDR report and all these things that mean nothing to someone who doesn't work in our direct sphere, he was able to very quickly show us that the data is data, and the way he was manipulating it was based on data knowledge and data understanding rather than what the actual data was telling us. And it was my job to say, okay, that means X and that means Y. So, it reassured me that you don't need to be an oil and gas expert or an inspection expert to do these kind of projects. It's all about your data science. You're bringing the skill set to the company rather than having to learn what the company does. So the challenge for Abdullah in his placement was to really look at that historical data and find a way of showing us, look, that particular piece of equipment has behaved this way for 40 years. So I can now tell you going forward how that piece of equipment is going to behave. And you can put in place your safety margins either side of that about, the most likely versus what could be the worst case. But essentially to start making all that data we've got work for us to help us be less conservative. And ultimately that means that we can focus on the critical items and ultimately spend less money doing things that we don't need to do.
So I did a MSc in Artificial Intelligence with the University of Aberdeen. And as a part of my placement, I worked for Canadian Natural Resources with Toby. And we mostly looked into lots of historical data and tried to find anomalous patterns in the data and do some forecasting for the future condition of the assets. I would like to emphasize on some of the soft skill you can also gain from the placement. Everybody thinks that we people from company background might have a bit lack of that soft skill, communicating with people. So when you go into a placement, first thing you do is the business understanding, which is probably for you is helpful to whatever job you go. First thing you need to do is the understanding what the business wants and how you can extract value for that business. doing lots of things academically, you don't really know. You sometimes you think, oh, where I'm going to use that in real life.
Yes.
So this is the confidence you will get when you work something. You will know that your knowledge is valuable and it can help people. I would say if you have the opportunity of taking the digital placement, you should definitely strongly consider it.
So I'm Caroline Lawrenson. I'm Managing Director of a small startup company called TL Tech. We specialise in supporting vulnerable adults to maintain their independence in their own homes, giving them better activity with their families and carers, using smart home devices and voice assistants. And what we quickly realised when COVID-19 hit was that we needed ways that we could support people remotely. And because we already have a bit of experience with voice assistants, we felt like that would be a very interesting place to explore, to understand whether or not a conversation with a voice assistant can actually help improve someone's well-being and alleviate loneliness. And so we approached the data lab with our idea and asked, was there potential for that to be a project with a student to help support us? And that's where our Alexa app kind of stemmed from. So I think for us, we've been on a bit of a journey of discovery. And so when we were looking for a student, we needed someone who is good at problem solving and is good at, pulling together in, the different strands of the problem to then be able to flesh out what it could look like, rather than, diving in and building the wrong thing. So we weren't very prescriptive with exactly how it was going to look. And what was really lovely was how collaborative the project was. And we're super excited because, we now have an Alexa skill, which will be in store very, very soon. So I think that is a huge testament to the skills that the data science course equips the students with. I think that for us has been the most amazing part of the experience, because we didn't know what we were doing when we started this. So having the support from the program has been hugely beneficial.
So my name is Ekaterina Vidrashko. I did my MSc in data science at Robert Gordon University in Aberdeen. And my project at TL Tech involved building an Alexa voice skill from scratch. For those of you who don't know, a voice skill is like a phone app, but an app for smart speakers. So the skill is mainly focused on helping and supporting people with their well-being. And this is especially relevant in the context of COVID-19 and while people are being at home and alone. For me, I'd say the main benefit was to learn something new and to discover how smart speakers work, because before I had very little idea on how it works. Another benefit was to actually do a real life project that and help Caroline and TL Tech to actually bring their idea to life and create something out of nothing, basically. I was so happy to stay with TL Tech after completing my placement.
I'm Steve Gerrard. I work for Nature Scot, which is a Scottish public sector government agency which is responsible for protecting and enhancing our natural environment. We're focusing very much on the kind of key challenges of climate change and biodiversity loss, but we're also very keen to promote people's enjoyment and understanding of natural heritage. It was quite a tricky startup with us because obviously with COVID and Yanis being based in Greece, initially it would have been very easy to say, going to go, oh, this is too difficult, we'll let it go. But we persevered, and I'm really glad that we did. For us, we had a specific problem that we needed to address, so that was in some ways quite handy. We use a lot of camera traps to monitor species, particularly things like wildcats, and they generate tens of thousands of images, and only a very small proportion of them actually have any species in them. And it's a very costly and time-consuming exercise to go through and review manually. So we felt, there had to be something about AI that we could use there, but we're still kind of dipping our toes into that water. It's very new for us. And what Yanis did was he came to us with a far deeper, far more up-to-date understanding of AI tools and methods. He really knew his stuff, and also he came with a great deal of enthusiasm and energy, which was fantastic. So, I mean, we'd initially been thinking at best we would get a kind of business analysis consultancy exercise where we'd get a review of the tools available and some kind of recommendation on the way forward. When you think that the placement was only 3 months long, I didn't see how we could get much more than that. But he kind of proved us wrong. He came up with a software tool that actually does the species recognition and classification for us within that short timescale. So it far, far exceeded our expectations, and we were delighted with what he'd done.
I'm Ioannis Katsadas, and I did my MSc on data science at the University of Glasgow. And my project was at NatureScott with Stephen, and it was basically implementing and investigating different machine learning techniques for image classification tasks, such as distinguishing humans from animals and implementing species classification on camera trap imagery. I got a very broad range of things that I could do. First of all, I could test a lot more technologies that I would otherwise have the chance to, because I had to find what fit best the organization according to their policies. For example, if it is an open source, if it is worth investing in a technology, if it's not open source. And besides that, I got a lot of experience of real life working conditions, putting actual data science and machine learning skills in action in real work conditions help you a lot, not only in interviews but in general in your entire career. And that basically you have the opportunity to have working experience before going out to the market for a job.
It's always great to hear from people that have been a part of the course, have been involved through the whole thing, both the students and the organisations. I think from the clips you've just seen, you can really understand the value to everyone that's involved. The students have a fantastic time. They get to apply their knowledge to real world industry problems, and the organizations get hopefully a really, really great piece of work out the back of it that contributes to the growth and success of the business or organization that the students being supported with. So with me now is Cheryl Stewart. Cheryl's the program leader for our MSc course, and she's going to go through a few of the common questions with me, some of those myth-busting pieces that you guys might have in your head as an organisation looking to take on a student. Cheryl, thank you very much. Good to see you.
And you?
Excellent. So the obvious one, really first off, I'm a business, I'm looking to take on a student, but what's it going to cost me?
Right, so organisations taking part are expected to pay the student at least a national living wage, which is around £9 an hour. The figure varies according to the age of the student, obviously. Any expenses incurred during the placement are paid at the organisation's discretion. Working hours are subject to agreement with the organisation's HR processes, but normally the student will be expected to work between 35 and 40 hours a week, just full time. Most organisations should make sure that any funding, both internal and external, is in place before the project starts.
Absolutely, I think that's a key one as well, and that's sometimes where we see some hiccups that we're really keen to get a student in, project's ready to go, but maybe just the budget or the funding hasn't quite sat. So that's something really key to get absolutely nailed before the student comes in. So once I've got the cost set up and all the background done, how long is it, and when should I be expecting the student to come into the business?
Right, so we've already begun the CV review process with NBN, and the students and their preference forms are being received as we speak. We expect to have all the forms back to us by the 2nd of December, and then we'll start matching the projects. So you need to get your applications to us as soon as possible. Placements typically start in May, although because we're working remotely at the moment, this can vary. Some students can be available from September, as this year the academic dates include October and January. Project duration is normally between 8 to 12 weeks and must end before the submission date of the student's academic dissertation. Any time allowed during the period for writing up should be agreed with the student and academic supervisor in advance. If the project doesn't allow sufficient time for writing up, the project must end at least 2 weeks before the student's submission date to be agreed with the student and academic supervisor. Any background checks, onboarding, etc. must be started as soon as the student has been identified and offered a project. Please ensure any stakeholders, including external service providers, and make sure the processes are aligned as soon as possible and that checks can be completed well in advance of the start date. All of these factors can affect as soon as a student can start.
Brilliant. So same as the last thing, the cost and getting things in place for that, it's actually it can start as soon as you and the student are ready, but bearing in mind that this is a dissertation piece, that an academic dissertation that the work the student will be doing leads into, obviously benefiting the organisation, but also for the student, so that there is we need to be done by this deadline for the student to get their thesis marked, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly that, yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. So I'm the organisation. I know what it's costing me. I know when it is. What's the student expecting to get out of this? What are they looking to achieve during this placement?
Yeah, so at the end of the day, the students are there to do their dissertation fundamentally, but they'll also get the opportunity to apply their academic skills to the organisation's real life challenges. They'll learn how to work in a team and use the experience to deliver their MSc dissertation, and in turn, the organisation will have access to a highly motivated data talent. Students are keen to put the technical skills learned in their academic MSc courses to work in the real life world.
Absolutely. So they're taking that really, really rich knowledge they've gained from the universities, and obviously in the Northeast, talking TechFest, it's going to be Aberdeen and RGU. Some great work that they put in and phenomenal knowledge base the students have, but really getting the opportunity to apply that to industry, to something real, to something that has an effect, that hopefully at the end of it, they've added value, and I'm sure they will add value to the business depending on the project. So that's really key. Fantastic. And I suppose what the obvious one is, a lot of these placements, and sometimes there's a bit of a stigma around what happens afterwards. So can you talk a wee bit about the expectations from both the student and the industry partner at the end of the projects?
Yeah, so there isn't an expectation that you'd have to offer the student a job at the end. The students know that it's a placement and not a job interview. However, we've had many cases before where the student's done such a great job that they've been offered a permanent post. So if a job does come to fruition after the placement, the organisation should discuss this directly with the student. We don't need involved in that. But obviously let us know the outcome at the end.
Absolutely. We want to know how, sorry.
No, carry on.
Yeah, we want to know how successful these things have been.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to say that we will be catching up with everyone involved just to touch base over the course of the project, to make sure everything's going smoothly, but also afterwards to really get a bit of feedback and hopefully some really good case studies from companies. Brilliant. Thank you very much, Cheryl.
No problem.
We look forward to seeing all the people that are watching this now get involved and suggest projects. I think it's really key that Cheryl and I will be running the Aberdeen and Northeast specific placement program this year, matching the Northeast students and to organisations. So that means we'll be here to help support project definitions and getting the students into the businesses as well. So again, thank you very much.
No problem. Cheers.
Thanks once again, Cheryl. So we've heard from, well, me to start with. I'm sure you're getting fed up of me now, but I promise we're almost there. We've heard from myself. You've heard from some of the participants. And I think they're the ones that will really sell you this program or not. They've been there, they've done it, they've enjoyed it. Hopefully, is what you got across from the wee interviews and bits that we had going on in there. And you've also heard from Cheryl. You've heard some of those key points, those key takeaways, those things that people ask first up. What's the cost? What's going on? How does it work? Kind of thing. So officially, as I mentioned, I think to start with, this is us. This is us launching the call for projects for the Northeast and the Northeast students, but also for the entire Data Lab MSc base. We're really looking forward, as I say, to the challenge of this year, to seeing how we can really support industry in this really tough time. I think it's really important to just reiterate that no matter what industry you're in, no matter what sector, these students can really add something. If you're looking to do something with your data there for the first time, it's a great way to run a compact project with someone with the expertise, to dip your toe in the water, to really try it out and see what data can do for your business, Or if you're in the middle of your journey, you're needing some extra resource, something to give your project just a bit of a kick, a discrete piece of work, that's where these students sit in. They sit there, they knock out a really great piece of work that works for their dissertation, but also for your business, and sit there. Or if you're really at the cutting edge, if you're out there, you're innovating, you're being creative, you're asking, what's next? What can I do with my data? Here's a great way to run a proof of concept, to trial something you're thinking about with a student, to bring back into the business and perhaps develop a new product, enhance an existing one, or even just to see what's possible, just to kind of validate those experiences. I think it's really valuable to hear, as I say, from the people that have been there, that have done that. And I would encourage anyone that's even vaguely considering what a student could do for them, please get in touch with myself via LinkedIn. My email should be around here somewhere, if not LinkedIn, or directly to the Data Lab website. Go through there and the team will direct you to myself in the Aberdeen hub, to my colleagues in the Central Belt, to the Highlands and Islands, and we can really help scope out your data journey, scope out where a student can forward that to progress you guys, but also to progress themselves. If you want to hear more detail about the courses or about what the students have perhaps done in the past, we've got a load of case studies on the website. But also, if you want something slightly more nuanced, slightly more detailed, please, again, get in touch. We look forward to hearing from you. So I think this event will be one in the last week of TechFest for this year, TechFest 2020. So I hope you've all had a really great TechFest. Really enjoyed it. Some of these remote learnings, both students and organizations getting involved and seeing what's out there. I've really loved it. Again, maybe not seeing the snakes and lizards, but talking to people that are really excited and enthusiastic about what they're doing, just like us, we are at the Data Lab. We're really passionate about seeing Scotland realise its potential, and by Scotland that means the organisations within it realising their potential, but also the individuals, these students, but also the individuals in your companies and organisations as well, realising their potential and what they could enhance and do with data. So thank you very much for coming along. I'm going to say now we run a data meetup in the Northeast every month in collaboration with Opportunity Northeast and Scotland Is. I would ask if you're keen or want to learn more about what the community is doing or what's out there. We vary up the themes, we vary up the topics, get along to that. We also run Scotland-wide meetups and Highlands and Islands meetups. Get involved in the community. Again, if you're maybe not quite ready for a student for next summer, come and see what's going on, come and dip your toe, come and have a conversation with the people that are out there either doing the work or running an organisation that is. See what they're up to, see what could be done, and again, just get a vibe for what a fantastic community we have up here in the Northeast and across Scotland, and a growing one. So we hope to see you there. Thank you very much for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your day and enjoy the rest of TechFest. Bye now.